Welcome to the Making Moves with Mao podcast. In every episode, you'll hear stories from individuals just like you that are trying to make an impact. They'll share their unique journey and some helpful tips that got them to where they are now. You'll hear conversations with people from all walks of life who are trying to make some moves. Now, here's your host, Mao.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us for another episode of Making Moves with Mao. I'm here with Chris Dorsano with TruFocus Productions, and he's here to share his journey into his business and how he got to where he is right now. So, Chris, thank you again for joining us today.
Absolutely, thanks for having me.
I always appreciate, because I know every entrepreneur runs on a very tight and busy schedule, so I always appreciate making time for things like this. So thanks for coming in today, man.
Absolutely, not a problem.
Awesome. So like I said, we talked a little bit off camera regarding kind of our upbringing and stuff, and we kind of seem to share similar stories.
Our neighborhoods are right next to each other.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy, right? But I want to know more about you and your business, man. So tell me how you got started, where the idea came from, and kind of where you are now.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, a little bit about my background. I grew up in Stickney, very close to you in the Cicero area. Both grew up on the same streets, it seems like.
Exactly, man.
So I grew up in a time and era when outdoor sports was everything.
Dude, you play in the streets, just
that was where we were at. We were in the alleyways, we were at the basketball courts at the local school. Video games started coming out. We had the Game Boy Color, the N64 and things like that. But most days were my mother would be get out on the street, get out there, go play, go have some fun with your friends. And it was a small community of us, and we didn't really have too many different types of activities. It was a poorer neighborhood. We didn't really have big gyms or complexes where we could play indoor sports. But we did try to have fun with Foursquare, dodgeball, or things like that. And I was always intrigued by the nature of the different things going on. And one thing that my brother and I really liked watching growing up was the show Fear Factor.
Did you watch that show? Yes, dude. I love that show.
The other one was Jackass.
Joe Rogan, Jackass too, man,
is another
dude.
Good one. So we just love those shows. We were always trying to have fun with our friends doing these stunts and stuff.
Oh, that's hilarious, man.
And I'm this stuff is hilarious. And my friends were goofballs.
Yeah.
All the time they're being goofy. I was always mesmerized by the things that we were able to do in the wintertime and freezing cold. And I want to remember this stuff.
Right.
And at the time we didn't have phones.
Right.
Phones just didn't exist at the time for at least, our generation.
Nah, dude.
I didn't get my first cell phone until I was 15, give or take. Around that time. So I had an old family video camera.
The
big fat ones with the cassette in there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? So I had no idea how to operate this thing, but I did know that I wanted to capture these memories, and they were all really cool stuff. So my brother and I started taking out the camera. Nice. And we started filming the Jackass stunts, and we would create our own little Fear Factor videos with our friends, and silly stuff oh, I bet you can't make that free throw 20 times, and if you do, you have to do this or that. So it was fun. It was a part of my childhood that I just always had a camera in my hand.
Yeah, you're building some cool memories too, and you're recreating those memories, which is awesome.
Absolutely. One of the coolest things is I still have those tapes, and I could go back and see my childhood. I could see my friends. I could see what life was like back then. And I think there's something really powerful to the craft of editing.
Right.
And that's kind of what came in later in life. Is as I started developing my craft, you get into high school, you get older, you start realizing there's different components to video production. It's not just going out and filming and having fun.
Right.
I started to actually learn about softwares. Now, growing up, I didn't even have a computer. We didn't have internet. So I didn't really know what it was like to have
the world was so small back then.
Oh, it's completely different. Yeah. Did you have a computer in your home?
No, I didn't get my computer until I was in high school.
Okay.
We had one little small computer for the four of us.
You do what you can, right? We had school projects where we had to type stuff up. I'd go to my aunt's house and she'd be showing me how to use the keyboard. And I'm how do I use this thing? So when we first got a computer was probably 1999, 2000, around that time. Yeah. And so we got a new program called Roxio, and it was from Best Buy.
Okay.
It's $20 at the time. And we learned how to take our video footage and transfer it into the computer.
Oh, nice.
And that was where it was a game changer.
Game changer, yeah.
Because we could add titles, we could start cutting and telling a story.
Yeah.
And from there on, my brother and I both kind of had a passion for this. And when I was in high school, everyone is like, well, what are you going to do with your life?
Yeah.
Well, both my mother and my father were both entrepreneurs, very like entrepreneurial.
Nice.
My father had a painting company and my mother had a daycare center when I was growing up.
Nice. My mom too, dude. That's crazy.
She had a daycare center?
Yeah, she had a daycare center.
Oh, wow.
Crazy. Small world, dude. That's awesome.
Very small.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to be an entrepreneur myself. I saw what flexibility that gave them. I saw how happy they were doing what they loved. And when I talked to them about it, they said, just do what you love. Do what you're passionate about. Like, you really should just look at, the next 10 years and plan out, okay, try that. And if it doesn't work, you can always try something else. But they were both very set on me going to college. Okay. Which I myself was not, but that didn't change the fact that is what they wanted for me.
Right.
Neither of them had gone to college, so they wanted that for myself. So when I was in high school, I was looking at all the opportunities and I said, what can I do that I love that would bring me joy and money at the same time?
Right. Yeah.
And what it happened to be was video production. Okay. And so I started doing video production in high school. There was a program called Multimedia and Television Production at a school, Technology Center of DePage. Okay. So it's kind of like an offshoot of College of DePage.
Yeah.
So you can get college credit during high school. So you would actually take a separate bus, go to that school, and they had all these programs, cosmetology, firefighting, like you name it. It's a little shout out to TCD.
Yeah.
Like they really knew how to like set up students in high school for future careers. And
it gives you like a sneak peek of like some of the crafts that you need to learn for that industry and stuff. Right?
Real life experience too. Yeah. Like you would actually do the things that you would do in your career. So if you were in construction, you were actually building walls and building, different units. Whereas like in media space, they took us in competitions. Okay. So if you were trying to learn how to tell a story, it's like we'll do the storytelling competition, and you would do what's called Skills USA. Okay. And we would enter a contest. We'd send our videos in, and if you won, then you go to state, and then you go to national, and it was like a big thing.
Like a real
It was like so. It was a really cool competition, and that kind of is what got me to know this is where I should be at, because everyone in my class was like, kind of like, I don't know if I want to do this. And my teacher looked at me. He's like, Chris, you know so much more about video production than any student I've ever had. You have a talent for this. You need to do this. And I didn't believe him at the time. Mm-hmm. I was some cocky young kid that was just like, yeah, I'm good at this, but I'm not that great. Yeah. So he pushed me, and I actually did it. I don't think anything that comes out like that's comfortable is easy. I think
100%.
I think that when he pushed me outside of my comfort zone, it really made me realize like I need to try this. I need to do this now. Otherwise, I never know if I could actually do this for a living.
For sure. And I'm sure like the value of him seeing that potential in you actually
it was huge.
Helped as well too.
Yeah. So if there's anyone in your life that like you can see something in them, like I don't hold back. Yeah. Like I always see, if I see something in somebody, I'd share that with them. I think that was such a huge moment and pinnacle for my life. And I'm like, man, how many times have I felt that about someone else and not told them? And I think that's like a huge eye-opening moment for me just as a person.
For sure.
So he did. He pushed me to go into this competition, reach outside of my comfort zone, and I won first place.
Damn. How'd you feel about like entering and like doing like?
I was cocky, and I felt like, of course I won first place. Like this was easy. Like this is what I've done since I was a kid. But then I went to state, and it was a bunch more top of the kids at all these other schools.
Top, like,
and I'm like, okay, like I kind of got nervous at that point. Okay. The cockiness kind of set in, and I was like, okay, now I'm just like everybody else. Like I have no idea what this competition's about. I don't have time to prep or ask questions.
Right.
It's all on me, and I have a partner, which I wasn't used to working with partners.
Right.
So I was going around shooting all this footage for the competition, and she was supposed to be, as I was giving her footage, putting it in a timeline and putting the project together. Okay. Well, I come back at the very end, last hour, and I realized that she was having technical issues, and she didn't tell me.
Oh, no.
Nothing was done.
Oh.
The entire project wasn't even started. She said, Chris, I'm having problems with it. The computer would stop starting up with the program. The program kept crashing. And I said, did you restart the computer? Like, did you do a fresh start, reset the program, re-download it, reinstall it? She's like, no, I hadn't. So I'm like, do that. I'm going to go record a voiceover. So I recorded my own voice. I thought of all the shots that I filmed throughout the day. I kind of had a vision for everything.
Okay.
And she was resetting the computer. I went back, threw all the footage in, just threw on my audio into the whole project, exported it within 30 minutes.
No way, dude.
And I was like, we lost. Like, there's no way we're going to win this competition because, like, yeah, I had a vision for this, but, like, everyone else had 8 hours.
Right.
We had 30 minutes scrambling for just throwing this thing together. It was the best film they've ever had.
No
entered
way.
into the competition.
Dude.
I couldn't believe it. Like, my heart was like just like throbbing, just the thought of the fact that they even said that's amazing. That was the best they had ever seen. And it was because of my creativity of how I thought about how to promote the competition.
Okay.
The story I told and how enlightening it was to inspire others to come to the event.
Dude, that's incredible, man.
It was from that point on that I knew I had to do this.
That's awesome.
It was my teacher was like, we need to get you into a college that, serves this, type of degree.
Yeah.
So we were looking at Columbia, we were looking at the art schools.
Okay.
And he really like pursued me to like.
So for this competition, you were still in high school, right?
I was still in high school.
Okay, wow, dude.
Yeah, I was a senior, looking at where to go to college.
Figuring out.
I had no idea what I wanted to do. Yeah. Actually, I was going to go to COD for a couple of years and just try to figure out what it is I wanted to do. So that was really the spark. That's really what got me going to what I wanted to do.
That's incredible. That's the biggest achievement that. I mean, as a high school,
it was a highlight.
Like, holy cow!
It was a highlight, and it actually comes full circle later down in my story. So, long story short, I did go to college got my bachelor's degree in filmmaking.
Where did you end up going?
The Illinois Institute of Art in Schaumburg.
Yeah.
So I got my degree in 3 years. I went full time. I was working at a studio at my old high school, which I didn't even know they had a studio there. That was like kind of an eye-opener too, because they had a really good studio. And I started working under Bill Allen, and he started teaching me the fundamentals of live video production. So I had a storytelling idea from the competitions, and then I had a live production, like doing football games, basketball games. So I really had a
broadcasting type.
I really had a scope of like what everything in video production looked like and what part of it I liked. And I know you're talking about later, like, what's something that people should be thinking about who want to get into this? I think you really should try everything. Like, you don't know what aspect you like until I thought I wanted to be, sideline at the basketball games for the Bulls, filming up front the basketball games. I filmed like 6 or 7 basketball games for my high school, holding that camera on my side, and I was bored out of my mind. Like, it was something that I realized, and I would have never known that if I hadn't tried it.
Yeah, for sure.
So it was the side of storytelling and helping people, showcase who they are and what they do that I was attracted to. But I would have never known that. So if you're looking to get into my industry as a filmmaker, you have to try everything. Like, you don't know what you like until you've tried it all. Until you've
tried it out, yeah.
So editing, video production, live production, there's just so many components. Lighting, people can become full-time gaffers.
Audio, right?
Audio engineers, you name it, you can get into different components. It might not be the video it may be the thing that gets you in, but it might not be the thing that holds you for the long career path. Sure. So I started like really looking into all those different paths. And what I realized was that after working at the studio for 5 years, my boss came up to me and he goes, there's no future for me in that career. Like, there's nowhere to move up. The only way to move up is to become the teacher. Right. And that's his job. You know what I mean? So what I was really trying to do was like figure out, well, what's next step? I was working a full-time job at a chemical warehouse. I was a manager there, and I really wanted to figure out, what video meant for me, where that was going to take me. And that leads me to TruFocus. So TruFocus Productions came out of my desire to help business owners create stories and promote them online. One of my first clients that Bill Allen had given me at the studio, he said, we don't take on this type of work. This is something you can do outside of the studio, was working with an attorney.
Oh, nice.
So he had a practice. He had been in practice for 20 plus years. And he's like, hey, I have these 5 services that I literally am spending every single day on the phone talking to people, explaining them what these things are. I want to just have a video that I can send an email to them and just they can understand it all. And then when they come to me, they know that that's the service they want, and we can talk about what that path looks like. So I created 7 or 8 videos for him, brand film, educational videos, and then email newsletters. And he still uses those today. This is 10 years ago.
Wow.
So, and he's still a client of mine. I still do work for him. So it was really cool just to see that development of how those videos worked for him, but then also what it was for me to be able to step in and help, I don't know how much value his business was at the time, but like potentially $1 million business from someone who's had no business knowledge whatsoever, just storytelling.
And I mean, if he's still a client, I'm sure he found the value in
he definitely
videos.
Did. Absolutely. I mean, one of the biggest things is that I wanted to make sure is it was more about the relationship than it was about the work. And I think that's a big component of the values of our company is we're people first and money second.
Right.
We hire and fire by the values of our company. And what it really comes down to is, are you integrity with yourself?
Yeah.
Because if you're not integrity with yourself, how are you going to have integrity with our clients? Are you telling the truth, when you say that you spent X amount of time on an edit, or did you actually only spend 2 hours? Because it shows in the work,
in the production,
and it also shows to other client where it's like, hey, well, I want to continue working with you, but this seemed a little bit much, for what I'm paying. So it's always finding a fine balance of the people that we work with, but also the integrity of our clients too. We definitely have fired clients in the past, and it's just a matter of following those same values.
They have to align with your.
If they don't align with us and what we stand for, we don't want to work with them.
It just makes it that much harder to want to work with somebody that you don't connect with.
It really does.
For sure.
And I think that's one of the biggest growth things that we've had in our business is who do we want to work with on a regular basis. So we don't work by like a one-off project all the time anymore. We try to develop relationships where we can work with them throughout the year and really help them in their business plan for marketing. So it's not just, hey, Chris, I need a video. Can you come out and we film a brand film and I never see you again? No, I want to know, did that brand film perform well for you? Is there anything we can change?
Right.
Did people fall off in the first 2 minutes as a 4-minute video? Well, maybe we need to cut it down to 2 minutes.
Right.
Really looking at the analytics of those videos. That came much further down the line in my career path. Mm-hmm. When you first start out, you're just trying to find the work.
Yeah.
And as you develop it, you want your work to be valuable to everyone. So when I'm looking at, a video project, I'm like, how can this serve them? And then what are the other types of videos that can serve them down the road, whether it be testimonials or, the different types of videos that to work in their funnel.
That can add value to,
Because every industry has their own funnels.
Yeah.
Every industry has their own types of videos that work for, who they are.
It's funny that you say that because there's so many small business owners that still don't understand funnels and how they work and the process of generating leads and converting them into actual clients, and how much of an impact the marketing side, which video is such a huge part of the marketing side of a small business especially, and how much of an impact that can have on the growth of your business. So
video marketing is its own tool, right? So people can look at marketing. There's ad marketing, you put money into it. There's organic marketing, there's SEO for your website, there's all these different components. Video marketing is its own bucket. And that feeds into every other bucket that's on, their campaigns. So when you see that as a bigger picture and you're comfortable enough going on camera, there's a lot of value that can be added there. And I think that's the little tweak that we've realized in our industry that's happened over time is that your face as a person, you sell, you're your best salesman. So when we film CEOs, they don't want to spend the time. Yeah, they're busy. Yeah, they have a lot going on. But can they bring the best value and sell their product better than anyone else?
100%.
Most of the time, yes, because it's their passion why they started doing what they're doing. I think when I challenge a CEO to come on camera, I talk about ones and tens.
Yeah.
If they're at the middle, always comfortable, they're always doing what they're really they know they're good at, and they stay right here, and their whole lives they just stay right there, and they don't ever go outside that comfort zone. There's no growth, and they could easily push it off on other people to do, but no one's going to do it like they're going to. Yep. So when I challenge them, they're scared. That's at the one on the other side.
Yeah.
And then when they fill that video and they see what it does and the things that come out of it, then it goes to the 10 and they feel really good.
Yeah.
They would have never felt that 10, that high of how great it felt to actually get past, that fear instead of just sitting in the middle and wondering what if I did that video? What if I helped that person? What if I did this marketing campaign? It's always that coming out of that comfort zone. Video is a big part of that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%, man. Especially here, like in our industry as a real estate agent, like we have a bunch of other brokers in our brokerage. People that just get their license, brand new agents, and it's hard for them to wrap their head around like putting themselves out there, getting themselves outside of their comfort zone, and marketing themselves. As a small business owner, you are your best marketing tool, right? You have to put yourself out there and have the world know what you do and who you are and what services you can provide. Because if you're not going to do it, no one else is going to do it, and that you can't build a sustainable business without generating new business consistently.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I think that, to your point, is it's a matter of just being authentic with yourself when you do it, because the first time you do it, it's not going to come off the best.
Yeah, it won't be pretty.
It's not going to be pretty at all.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the holdup is for most people. So my challenge to people would be more so, if you're uncomfortable going on camera, is to film yourself.
Yeah.
Take out your phone. You have a camera with you 24/7. And I know it sounds silly to do this, but I challenge all my clients when they don't feel like they're ready to film themselves and do a pitch. Even a 30-second pitch, just get comfortable seeing yourself and looking at a camera. And I'm like, you don't have to send it to anybody. Sometimes I like them to send it to me so I can give them creative feedback.
Right.
But I'm like, just pull it out every now and then and film.
Yeah.
Get used to that. I know it's uncomfortable, but it's going to make you feel that much more authentic when you come in front of a camera for the first time.
Yeah, and
you realize it's not there. It's just like any other muscle.
Yep.
So
the more you do it, the more comfortable it feels, and the more authentic it becomes, and it'll just be like a muscle that you're just building.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, and you want to have some fear. I don't know if you've heard this before, but like people who do keynote speeches, and that's like what they do for a living.
Yeah.
If they don't have fear when they walk up on that stage, they actually get caught up in the moment that they're not going to give their best because they already think they are, and they think they're already, and then they get already in their heads.
Yeah.
Whereas if they have just a little bit of fear, they're a little bit on edge, they're always trying to give a little bit more.
Right.
That's the same thing on camera. If you get too comfortable, you're going to get a little too cocky, and it's going to come off that way. So what I always try to do is like find that equal balance. Is like, you don't want to just be your first time going in front of the camera and filming and not knowing like how your body's going to react.
Right.
So what I always do is I have that as a beginning challenge. And for people who are more comfortable, it might not be a brand film. Sometimes it's testimonials.
Right.
It's like, well, maybe that's not the type of video that works for you. In your space particularly, like, who sells for you the most? It's probably the people you've already found homes for.
Exactly.
So them sharing their stories about how you helped them, how attentive to the details you were, how friendly you were for their family and friends when they were, looking for their homes. All of that stuff really showcases by the stories that they share. And it's them talking about you. It's not you just kind of blabbering on about yourself.
Right. Exactly.
And that's a different type of sale. That's further along down the funnel.
Yeah. Creates another level of trust in the potential new clients that you're going to get.
Absolutely.
They're hearing it straight from somebody that's already been through that experience. So.
Well, and they can also showcase what that was like. It started off with a conversation.
Yeah.
They could actually share what it looked like to working the journey of the sale through their journey, rather than you explaining it. And it's like, yeah, we get it. Like, you're trying to sell us on something. Right. It's like, no. This was the journey I took, and this actually helped me. Like, this genuinely works, and it worked for us, and it could work for you potentially too. That's a huge selling point for those types of videos, and those usually fall in later in the funnel. For those who aren't familiar with funnels, the top of the funnel is for those people getting prospect, and they're just trying to do a little bit of research. They're trying to figure out, what's this company about.
Stages of
very
research,
early stage. They might even know about what video marketing is. They might not even know, how to start looking for a home, loans, whatever it might be. Usually you have like a tool, we call them magnets in our industry, but like it might be a free ebook, it might be a free page letter about PDF or something that they could download. So that's just them trying to do their research. They're in the gathering phase.
Yep.
The middle to that funnel would be more so about, they know they're ready to make a decision. They have a top 3, 4, or 5 people that they're looking at. They know what they want. They're trying to decide which one of these are a better fit for them. And that's when they're starting to look at, brand films. Who are these people? What are they about? What do they represent?
They're digging deeper at that level.
They're going down.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then the last one is like, okay, we're ready to buy. We're in like the last 1 or 2. Which one's going to be the better fit for us? Usually that means they're ready to pick up the phone and actually make a sales call to to buy your product or service. And that's when they're looking at testimonials. That's when they're looking at your reviews online. I mean, some people do that in earlier stages, sure, but they're really fine-tuning everything about you to see if you're a good fit.
Right.
And that's the bottom of the funnel. Usually those people are looking at testimonials. They're looking about everything about your company, the good, the bad, the ugly. So video marketing is what's really going to sell them at that point. So if you've been building a relationship with them through that whole funnel of who you are, what you're about, what your values are, that's when the final sale happens. And that's what I like working with business owners is how do we refine this funnel for your target audience to be able to use the different videos to help you along that sale. It's a process and it's time.
It is.
And depending on your industry, it might be a 2-week thing. It might be a 2-year thing.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure, in your industry with the market shifting, some people think they're buying this year and it ends up being next 2 years down the road, know? So staying top of mind, I'm sure you send out, things in the mail.
Yeah.
All those things, you're still building trust over time.
Yep.
And video is one of the easiest ways to build trust with someone because they're seeing a face, they're reading your body language,
right.
They're seeing what works and what doesn't work for them.
That's awesome, man. And it is, I think, still an underutilized tool, especially for small business owners, And something I think that most business owners struggle with, I mean, I did this as well, is, as an entrepreneur, you wear so many hats in your business, right?
Absolutely.
You do the sales, you do the marketing, you do accounting, you do everything, right? Yeah. And sometimes you feel kind of you're being pulled in so many directions, and it's hard to find the time to even do things like that, like set up some videos and stuff. So that's where service like yours would come in and help them kind of see the bigger picture and help them elevate their brand as well as grow their sales and grow their business.
Absolutely. And prioritizing. What do you, when you're wearing so many hats, it's like, what do you need to prioritize? Well, sure, you need to grow your bottom line. You always have to be adding value, but you're adding value to people. Mm-hmm. One of the stats that I look at with clients is not how much money are you making, but it's how many people are you serving. Are you making $100,000 that month? Great. That's, you're hitting your goals, but how many people did you help?
Yeah.
Maybe even people who couldn't afford your service that you just helped because you could add value to them, whether they work with you or not. How many people on a regular basis. So one of my goals for TruFocus is 2 years ago, we had the goal of serving 100 people. The following year, it became 200 people. And so now we're getting closer to the 300 mark for this year.
Amazing.
And what we're trying to do is it's not about the numbers, about how much are we making. It's how many people have we served this year. And if we were short 50 people, it doesn't have to be a sale. It could be me calling and saying, hey, look, I saw on your website you have your video on the back end page, you really should add it to the home page. If you're willing to work with us, we could tweak some things on the video, but overall, this is what we've seen has worked well for your industry. Adding value is always a huge component of what we want to do, not only just in our industry, but as people.
Yeah.
Always be bringing value to others the best we can. And that comes from my faith background. So my company and myself is very faith-based.
Nice.
I come from a Christian backbone, and what I'm trying to do is showcase that whether it be me in video production or me in the real estate world, I want to show up in the world as the thought leader that I want people to see me as. And that's not always an easy thing to do when you're money first.
Yeah.
So people first has always been the direction of what our company and, how we want to serve, the greater good.
That's amazing, man. Yeah, I think that's the mentality that most businesses should be having, because it really does make that difference. You don't realize how much of an impact you have by providing value to somebody, because then they become your advocate for your business, and that's how you grow on that organic referral based sales. And it's amazing how much it can explode. One
of the things that I always try to think about when I'm serving other people in different industries too is how am I serving that person specifically? If you're going through something and I notice that it's impacting your ability to have a conversation about your business, it's is there something that you need to talk about outside of, just work? Because as entrepreneurs, like you had mentioned, we're wearing multiple hats.
Right.
And it could be just a matter of we're struggling with our sales team right now. I've been doing sales till 2 a.m, creating, these sales. It's okay, I get that. How can video help you in that? Or how can I just as a person, who do I know in my network that I could use as a resource to help you to come out of that? Because I think that's what entrepreneurship is really all about. It's about coming together as a community, and it's not just about growing a business, getting it to $1 million and then selling it.
Right.
And at least that's not my goal as a person. And if that doesn't align with the values of who I'm working with, it's probably not a good fit anymore.
Right, exactly. I agree, man. That's awesome. Let's touch base. I know we went back through your journey now. So your business, is it primarily focusing on helping other small businesses in the video production side? Is that your main clientele essentially, or
no? So the people that we work with a lot are marketing agencies that work with other companies.
Okay.
So if they have someone that's in-house, they're already doing ads, they're already doing the website design, and they're like, hey, you really need to get video, which happens most of the time once they get to a certain level.
Yeah.
They call us and we work alongside their marketing partner.
Okay.
If not, we act either as their marketing partner, or what we'll do is we have partners we work with that have marketing agencies that will say, hey, this is a good fit for what you're looking for. We could either tie it in, or we can, wait until you're established with your marketing, and then we could add some videos to it. But we have the resources over the past 10 years that we've built up over time of what works for smaller businesses as well.
Right.
We work with large and small. I mean, we work with corporate businesses as well downtown. But the people that we work with on a month-to-month basis, they're like those mid-range companies. They're the people that know that they need video. They have the funds to be able to put towards marketing, and they're trying to grow their practice and serve more people. And so that's what we're really trying to focus in on is, right now we have people in the health space. We have people in the auto mechanic space.
Okay.
We're really just trying to expand to other areas, but the realtor space, we have
so
a
you're
couple.
serving all different industries right now?
The industries vary, and I think that's the cool thing about video is it's so unique in itself that it could be used in every different avenue, that it doesn't matter what type of business you have. There's different types of videos that work for that industry, and some that are organic that work for every industry. Yeah. And we've done 10 plus different types of videos for different people.
Okay.
I can give an example of like a company that was trying to hire people. So we love working with nonprofits. Okay. Nonprofits are like our bread and butter. We love being able to serve those people, and we go above and beyond because we know that there's different things that we could add outside of the business to be able to serve these people. So they were looking to hire more people in their company because it was such a rough position, working with people who are homeless or that they're going through a tough time. And they need to have like a caseworker. And these caseworkers, it's really hard for them to have relationships with these families and hear these struggles and deal with different conditions. And we're like, we have a solid base of who our company is, but we need to find out how to get the right people in the door. And Indeed isn't working for us. So it's really about let's sell the people who work here. So we did a recruitment video.
Oh, nice.
So we showcased who the CEO is, what their values were, the people in the company, why they work there, how long they work there, what they love about their job, what they dislike about their job, to really find like as I'm watching this, am I a good fit to work with these people? Or is this something that's like kind of like not in my comfort zone? Right. Because usually when it's in the recruitment phase, you're looking for someone who feels comfortable to get into that space. Yeah. So when we did that, that was a game changer for all the businesses we work with. I'm like, wow, every business has a position that they're trying to showcase. They're trying to find the right person, and they don't know how to fill that spot without going through 100 resumes. Well, what better way to do that is to showcase yourself in your best light and bring in attract that right person. Right,
find the person that fits into that mold.
So that's the biggest thing we do. I think that's the biggest thing is a business will come to us, say this is our problem, and we'll see if video has a solution to that problem. And if it doesn't, we have the resources to direct people otherwise.
Nice, man. Yeah. That's amazing. And I mean, I mentioned this before. I think it's so important that, I think the future is video now. We're in this society where, Instagram Reels, TikTok, all these short form videos to grab people's attention is what's been working. And so businesses need to learn to adapt and create content along those lines and utilize video and make it work for their industry. So is there any advice, like let's say somebody there's a small business owner just starting off their business, like what is something that you would recommend that they start to incorporating video into their business? Like what's a good kind of foot in the door?
Yeah, I love the people who try on their own first. Okay. What you need to understand is the idea of what a marketing funnel looks like for video production. So many people will come to me and say, oh, TikTok, I hear it's the best new thing. Like, I need to get some stuff on TikTok. It's like, sure, yes, people are there. People's attention are there. That it's not wrong.
Right.
The question is, are they your target audience? Is that where they're at? Are they using that platform to buy? Are they using that platform to gather information? So what I always say is look at your industry, look at your competition, and where are they posting to? And you can even call them. What's working and what's not working. We're entrepreneurs. We're all trying to serve and help each other. If one person doesn't want to share, I'm sure the next will.
Exactly.
So one of the things that I always look at is what's my competition doing? What platforms are they using? And then how can I start there? So whether it be the 5-second videos on TikTok, you're probably not going to get a sale from there. Like that's the top of the funnel. You're getting people's attention. You're trying to pull them from that TikTok video into your funnel. Get an email or send them to your website or send them to your social media page. Get them to see who are you, what are you about. But most of those platforms, people are just scrolling. They're just aimlessly, like they're not actually buying anything. They're just literally looking to see what's going on in the world. But if they like you and you're sharing something that's enjoyable, they're going to want to learn more. Yeah. So if you're sharing information about your expertise, if you say, are you a first-time home owner? Like, are you trying to buy your first home? Are you looking for a loan? Like, I have the top 3 tips. Sure, it grabs their attention. They might hit subscribe, but you need to create adding value to them.
Continuously. That's the
and building the trust. The more they see you, the more they hear from you, the more that you have touch points, the more that they're more enticed to buy from you down the line. And it might have started with a 5-second TikTok video, but it is a long game. Yeah. So if you're looking to start out, I would absolutely just look at your competition, talk to your competition, see what's working. If you're a startup, you don't want to try everything at once. I would really narrow in, focus on one platform, whether it be your website and like maybe Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you want to go, and really just trying to hone in on that. And when you've done it for long enough and you've built up some clientele and you're ready to hire a professional, that's when you can reach out to a video production company to take it to that next level and really try to hone in on your story. So,
because like you said, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like people have already been doing it, and there's other people that at different stages of that.
Absolutely.
And it's out there. You just got to find it, figure out how you can
utilize
it in your business.
And once it's out there, it's going to work for you 24/7. Yeah. And I don't like to sound like a broken record, but people forget, like once you post a video, it might be at the bottom of the feed, but it's still there. People could still find it. Forever, yeah. And if you added value and you're putting in your newsletter, people are still seeing that value. So once it's created, it's not like it's just done and dead.
Right. You
can make it
unless you remove it and you delete it.
Correct, right. Well, and the only time people actually remove it is when they said, "Oh, I was horrible. I came up." Well, if that video got 1,000 views and it's still adding value to people, why would you take it down? Why would you do it? Yeah. So that's a question that I would ask them if they were looking to remove things from their feeds.
For sure. Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, I guess we'll end it with for anyone thinking of pursuing a career in video production or in the video production space. Sure. What is some word of advice, something that you would give to them, someone that's just starting off?
Yeah, I think it's so easy to get absorbed by the material things of fancy cameras because they're so cheap these days, the lenses, the cameras. I would say I challenge you to not buy the Sony A7 III for whatever the newest version is, and just take out your phone and start creating stories. Start using the tools that you already have in your pocket and see, do you actually spend time doing it? Do you enjoy doing it? Yeah. And then doing different types of things. Go out and film a basketball game if you think, sports is something you'd want to pursue in. Go out and film friends doing Fear Factor stunts and things of that nature to see if you want to do, live television. Really trying to figure out what type of video you want to do. And if you actually enjoy the craft, if you do, again, just like a business owner, take it to the next step and you can invest in yourself and buy the camera. But I think too many people, put the wagon in front of the horse and they just jump right into spending a couple $1,000s saying, oh, well, it's cheaper these days. A couple $1,000 to me personally, that's a lot. That's a big investment that you could put towards something else if you didn't know that was, what you wanted to pursue. So take out your phone, start filming, actually put it into an editor suite, Final Cut, different programs are free, play around with the programs. And you might see that you don't like editing. Maybe you just like the production side. Maybe you like the editing side more. But really it comes down to just trial and error and seeing, you know, what part of the production that you enjoy, and then, you know, from there feeling out what you want to pursue more into.
That's awesome. And that's the only way you're really going to find out.
It's the only way.
It's if you put yourself out there, take a risk, you know, put yourself in uncomfortable positions and see if it's something that truly aligns with, you know, what it is that you want to become.
Yeah. And there's a lot of different platforms out there too. I mean, we talked about earlier, YouTube is free.
Yeah.
You know, there's tons of stuff. Yeah, you're going to have to go through a bunch of junk to find the good stuff, but it's out there.
Yeah. Takes a little digging, but you can find it. Yeah.
I mean, you asked like what steps they could take. I think it would be better of an investment to invest into a online video school, like a master class or a full-time filmmaker or something to that regard, opposed to buying the actual camera, because the knowledge that you're going to learn to use on your phone, you can then apply to the production. Nice. So I would start out with the education, and you don't have to spend $90,000 on film school like I did. You don't have to. You know, for some people, that is what they need, and they do need to build up that muscle. Right. And I'm not saying that film school was a bad thing. You know, I built some of my greatest friendships there. Some of the people that work in my company I met there. So there is value to be added from that community. But if you're just someone who's wanting to get into this as a hobby and see if it's a good fit, start with the online stuff. Pull out your phone. I'm sure they have the greatest smartphone right now. Yeah. Chances are. So just start there.
That's awesome, man. Cool. I appreciate you taking the time today, Chris. Man, it was super insightful, and I think, like I said, every business should really utilize video as part of their marketing tool, man. So, where can people find you? What's the best way for someone to reach you if they want to either learn more about what you do or if they want to hire you for your services?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to check out some of our stuff and reach out to me, I mean, you could go to TruFocusProductions.com. TruFocus Productions with an S.com. We have sample work on there. We have our own testimonial videos of people we've worked with, the different types of videos and industries. And then there's a contact form on there too. If you just have questions for me in general, you can reach out to me directly at chris@TruFocusProductions.com. And I would just love to hear from you guys and whatever is going on in the different industries, how I can help.
Awesome, man. Well, truly appreciate your time again, Chris. Thanks so much for stopping by today. And thank you guys so much for listening. We'll catch you on the next episode. See you guys.